Do you often feel tense and on edge in day-to-day life, and especially in social situations? Do you find yourself jumping at the slightest of noises and just feel very uneasy in situations like walking down the street? If you've gone through this kind of thing for a long time, you may have developed chronic muscle tightness as a result. In this video, I'll explain why practicing progressive muscle relaxation could be life-changing for you and how you can get started. Hey, I'm Neil and I struggle with social anxiety for more than 2 decades. On this channel, every week, I'll be bringing you the best methods and strategies that I've used to feel more confident. If we're in a social situation and we start to feel anxious, then our sympathetic nervous system will activate, which will trigger the fight or flight response, and then our brain will tense our muscles up in preparation for us to run away from a threat. Of course, the problem with this is that we're not actually in any real danger, and so our brain has prepared us to run away from a threat that doesn't actually exist. And as part of this, it also releases a lot of stress chemicals into our system that we don't end up burning off because we don't run away as our body is expecting us to do, and then these linger around long after the threat has passed. If this sort of thing happens to us regularly, then it can lead us to feel constantly on edge, and we can develop chronic muscle tightness because the cycle just keeps on repeating itself. And as it's been going on for so long, we likely aren't even aware of what's going on because it just feels like it's our default state, so we probably don't even pay much attention to it. If we instead begin to start paying attention to this, then we'll probably find that muscle groups like our shoulders, maybe even our stomach, are tense quite often, even when we're just sat at home and we're just not doing anything at all, there's nobody else around, we might just be sat on the sofa. We might not feel as though we're in any danger in that moment, but if we actually pay closer attention, then we might find that we actually find it very difficult to just unwind and relax. The amygdala, which is the part of our brain that is responsible for triggering the fight or flight response, is sensitive to muscle tension, and tight muscles will increase its activation even more, which ends up creating this vicious cycle. This puts us even more on edge in social situations. If we can then reduce the amygdala's activation by teaching our parasympathetic nervous system to intervene, which does the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, then we can start to see some results. The PNS will reduce our heart rate and our rate of breathing, and it's a lot more likely to become activated when we practice being relaxed. There have been plenty of studies that have shown that practicing things like meditation and muscle relaxation techniques will reduce activation in the amygdala, so relaxation is one of the main things that's recommended for reducing anxiety, because when your body is in a relaxed state, it will send signals to your brain that says that everything is okay. We have the ability to modify the amount of tension that we hold in our muscles by deliberately paying attention to them, and progressive muscle relaxation is a technique that allows us to do that by focusing on muscle groups that we have conscious control over. PMR will help you to start gaining control over some of that tension in the key muscle groups, so places like your arms and your legs, and if you practice it regularly, then you'll begin to reverse some of the effects caused by having the fight or flight response regularly activated and that build-up of chemicals in your body. PMR will help us to shorten the amount of time that we feel socially anxious for when we do get triggered, but it will also make it less likely that we do get triggered in the first place. And the first step to practicing relaxation is to practice within the comfort of our home. After spending a few sessions practicing doing it at home, then you can begin to take it to the next level and bring it into your day-to-day life. When you practice PMR, it's also good to try and keep a clear mind and not think about mental images, because even doing that can induce slight muscle tension around your eyes and your face that you might not even be aware of. It's also good if you can slow your rate of breathing down to about 5 or 6 breaths a minute, and if you can combine breathing techniques with progressive muscle relaxation, then you'll get the most out of these exercises. Okay, so to begin doing progressive muscle relaxation, start by trying to find a comfortable place where you can be either sat down or lying down, and begin by going through each muscle group one at a time, starting at your forehead, then your jaw, then your neck, and just gradually go down your body until you get all the way to your toes. As you get to each muscle group, then firmly tense it for about 5 seconds, and this will allow you to feel where you're really holding that tension in your body. And then once you've done that, then quickly release it Try to really notice how that relaxed state feels once you've released the tension in a muscle group before moving on and repeating steps 3 to 5 again for the next group. At the start, if you've never done this before, then it might take quite a while for you to get a real level of relaxation in your body. People say it can even take as long as half an hour to do it in the first place, and it's good to practice at least once, if not twice a day if you can, and then gradually try and reduce the time that it takes you to get into a relaxed state to no more than about 10 minutes. You may even find that long term you can achieve a relaxed state in less than 5 minutes, and it's best to do it first thing in the morning or before you go to bed in order to get the best results. You might even find after a while that you don't even need to tense each muscle group first before relaxing it, and it's only going to be the ones that are particularly tight and stubborn that you need to tense, and this will also save quite a bit of time. The next step is to try and bring PMR into our daily lives, and this can be done with a little bit of adaptation. When we're in a social situation and we're feeling nervous, the first step is to practice taking slow, deep breaths. The next step is to then notice any muscle groups in our body where we're feeling particularly tense, and then to practice letting go of this tension. One of the biggest challenges that you might face at the beginning is just simply being aware of where you're tensed up. But just try and make your body as loose and limp as possible once you begin to notice this. I find it easier to release a lot of the tension as I'm breathing out. You'll probably find once you start noticing that you feel tense, that you do feel tense quite a lot in social situations, but once you get into the habit of loosening up, with time you'll start to find that your default state is to be a lot looser and relaxed around other people. If you'd like to take big steps towards overcoming social anxiety, then I run weekly online groups where you can practice in a safe environment, stepping out of your comfort zone gradually and practicing being more confident. I'll put the link down in the description. If you'd like to watch more, then click here to check out my latest video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this content valuable, then please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.